Hey everybody, welcome to day 2 of the basics video tutorial series. I'm Adi and today we'll be doing some PSD slicing and we're also gonna create the markup for the home page and the blog single page. So let's get started. Okay then, so we open up Photoshop to the document that we created in day 1 and let's take a quick look and see what elements we could use and what do we need to cut as images. So we need the logo, of course. Um, we need the kind of a pattern, the pattern from the top here. We need to cut that, and let's see what else. We need this button right here, the expand collapse button with its two states. And let's see, scrolling down, we're gonna need these social icons, and we're gonna need the pattern again and this little icon right here. And as you can see, it's a very few images. um, this is a very lightweight theme. In total, after it's coded, I think it just uses like 10 images or something like that. So let's go ahead and get these images sliced up real quick. So grab the logo, duplicate group into a new document, go to image trim, and then file, save for web and devices. PNG24 since we need it to be transparent. So let's go to desktop, basics, let's create a new folder, call it HTML, another folder called IMG, and call this basics logo.png. Okay, and let's see about this pattern on the top. Now, in order to repeat itself, we must cut it from its half point. So, easiest way to do that is go here, grab two of these, duplicate them into a new document like this, and just so we can see them, I'm going to create a new layer and fill it with white, or actually I'm going to fill it with this color, with blue, so we can see what we're doing on the canvas here. Okay, so let's grab these two and kind of position, okay, something like this on that side, and then, well, actually let's be very precise about this. So let's grab some rulers. Okay, and we need them to be kind of halfway, actually something like this, and then something like this. Alright then, so let's go ahead and drag another one, and this right here is the area that we're interested in, and by repeating that we're gonna get a seamless pattern. Okay, so let's get rid of this layer and let's grab this. Let's just make a few minor adjustments like this and this. Okay, that looks good. Alright, so grab this by pressing Command Shift and C to copy everything, Command N, and then just paste it in, and then go to File, Save for Web and Devices, and you can save it as a PNG or you can save it as a JPEG. It makes no difference. So let's just save it as a JPEG, about 70% or 80% quality, even though it doesn't show because it's very light gray, but still let's let's save it as a JPEG. So we're gonna call this top BG. Okay, and one quick thing that we need to do: Command T, right click, flip vertically, and then export the image as it is for bottom BG. And we did that so we don't have to um, go down here and make another selection and stuff like that. So we got the logo, we got the stop pattern. Let's see what else. We don't need the images since they're gonna be just linked to um, from our code. We need this image though. So let's see if we can find it first. The collapse expand. Oh, category bar. There we go. So expand collapse. Just a minor adjustment here. I'm gonna make this just a little bigger, and that's a bit too big. So a bit smaller, something like this. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so grab this, do the same thing, duplicate into another document, image trim, and if we zoom in, you can see that we have kind of a, I call it noise, I'm not sure if that's the correct way, but we have these kind of semi-transparent borders around it, and that's caused by the anti-aliasing. And one quick way to fix it is just grab the grab the handles and then nudging with your keyboard keys, 1 pixel down and then 1 pixel up, just to get rid of those. Okay, so let's do trim again. This is kind of weird, I don't know why it does that. Anyway, let's just go ahead and save it like this. It's not a problem. Save it as a PNG 24. We need it to be transparent. 27 by 27. Right. So we're going to call this, which one is it? Collapse. So collapse button. And then just go to arrow, Command T, flip vertically, and save it for web and devices again as expand button, like this. Okay, that's good. Let's see what else. Images, images, images. We need these social icons, but I'm gonna grab those from the folders. Okay, last thing that we need is the black and white logo here. Okay, so image, trim again, and then save for web and devices, call it basics logo small. Okay, and last thing, go to 16 by 16 or go and grab your social icon images. So I'm gonna grab delicious, Facebook, something, something, Twitter, probably RSS, Twitter. Okay, so grab those, go to HTML, IMG, create a new folder. Let's call it social. There we go. Okay, now let's open up the blog single page and let's see what images are here. So we have the first one is this sharing icon, and I'm just gonna make it a bit smaller. It's just too big for me, so 30 pixels. So something like that. Make the star smaller as well, something like that. Okay, and that looks good now. So let's go here. these two, duplicate them, call into a new document, save for web and devices, and it can be a JPEG. Something like this. So we're gonna save this as share icon. Now, okay. Next, let's grab this avatar. Okay, Command Shift and C, Command N, and then just paste that in. And oops, you can export it as a JPEG, 90% quality maybe, something like this. And we'll call it author avatar, except we're going to create a new folder for it called placeholder. And once you get the theme set up, you can just delete this placeholder. So okay, let's see what else. Nothing here, nothing here. We can grab this kind of default user icon, okay, and call it, well, default user icon. Okay, let's see what else. This is CSS. This will also be made from the style sheet, and that's pretty much it. Okay, well, that's done with the slicing part. Let's have a look. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 images in total for our entire website. I think that's pretty good. Well, except for these 4 images for social, but you know, I think it's cool to make a website that's mostly, you know, styled from CSS. So the less images you use, the cooler it is. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I'm quite happy it turned out this way, and I think it's gonna be, you know, pretty fast at loading, since the only images it has to load are these very small insignificant images. So anyway, let's open up Coda and let's move on to the markup stage. So let's open up Coda, and I'll be working local. So we're going to have a new file, and it's going to be called index.html, and oops, and also a new folder called CSS, and a new folder called JS. So this is the kind of starting points. Now, for basics, we're going to be using an HTML5 doc type and also some cool CSS3 effects. Now, I'm going to start with the original doc type, a strict doc type, and I'll modify that just to show you what the differences are between HTML5 doc type and one of the old, you know, 4.1 strict doc types. So let's go ahead and let's open up text expander here, and let's see if we have an HTML4. Actually, no, we don't have an HTML4 doc type, but that's not a problem. Let me just open up snippets. There we go. And yeah, my trial will expire soon. Let's see what we have here. XHTML strict starter. Okay, this is what I need. So grab that, pop it in. There we go. All right, now HTML5, I'm just gonna use the doc type and just a few minor tweaks to the tags. I'm not gonna use the new tags, the article, the footer, header, stuff like that, because um, well, they're not supported by all the major browsers yet. So until they are, uh, I'm not gonna use all the features. I'm just gonna use the doc type and some shortcuts. Let's call them shortcuts to the code, and I'll show you that in a bit. So uh, this is the actual doc type for um, an HTML 1.0 strict. And to make it an HTML5 doc type, we just do this. That's it. That's the HTML5 doc type right there. Very easy, very easy to remember. First of all, you can just type it. You don't need code snippets or excuse me, and you don't need to go to various websites to grab the code from there and paste it on your website. So that's a very cool addition. Okay, now uh, one more thing that we can get rid of is this. So we'll just have HTML lang equals English, and now the meta. The meta is going to be very, very simple. So we don't need this HTTP quiv and the content and stuff like that. All you need is meta charset equals UTF-8, and that's it. Very, very simple. Okay, so let's input our title here, call it basics. The magazine theme, or call it whatever you want. And um, I just want to go over some of the HTML5 features because we're kind of talking about it now, even though we're not going to use them. But now let's include a script. So we're going to have script type text JavaScript source is going to be, something. Now with HTML5, you don't need this bit type equals text JavaScript. You don't need it, so you can just get rid of it and just have script source equals your source. And that's because HTML5 automatically assumes that when you put script, you're going to have the type is going to be JavaScript. So that's very cool. One other thing is the link. It's the same thing. If you normally put link rel equals style sheet href, and you're gonna have style, not style, I'm sorry, type equals text CSS, right? That's the default markup. But now you don't need this either. So works for link, works for script, and that's very, very cool. And another cool thing is that you can get rid of this ending tag. So you can just have link this exact markup without the ending tag. So it works without a problem. It's probably easier to write code like this. Okay, so that was just to talk about the HTML5 stuff that we're going to be implementing. Now, as I said, I'm not gonna use the newest tags, article, footer, header, and stuff like that. What I'm gonna do instead is name the classes and IDs of the container elements kind of to reflect the new tags. So for instance, for this, let me just show you in Photoshop. Let's open up homepage again. So for instance, for this top section right here, I would normally call it top section or top container or stuff like that, but in this case, and just so that I can get used to the new HTML tags that are going to be used soon, I'm gonna name it top header. And the same thing for the blog posts. The tag in HTML5 would be article, and I'm not gonna name it article. I'm gonna name it div with a class of article content or something like that. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. So let's go ahead back. Let's go back to Coda and start our markup. Okay, so let's take a quick look, see how we're gonna organize our layout here. Now we're gonna have this top header section, the slider section right here, and then the category and breadcrumb section. The main content will be organized between the main article section and the sidebar right here, and then the footer section will be organized into, let's call this footer menu and copyright information. Okay, so let's begin div with an ID of top header. And what's this gonna do? We're gonna have a logo and a menu. So we're gonna have a link with an href to index.html, and that href is going to have an img with a source of img slash basics logo png. Okay, let's expand and let's clean up the code a bit. Okay. Oh, I ended the tag prematurely, it seems. Okay. Now, the exact thing that I was saying earlier, you can get rid of that. But I'm still going to use it, just because it's in my habit, and you know, I kind of find it more semantic this way. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm gonna still use it. So img basic alt, call this logo, or let's give it a more SEO friendly name like basics, a blog and magazine template. And let's change the title as well. Okay. And actually the link is going to have an ID of logo, and let's call it logo figure, since figure is another tag in HTML5 that mostly refers to images, so let's call it logo figure. Okay, and last thing, we need ul with an ID of nav, and this is going to have, let's see how many, 1, 2, 5 list items, and each list item will contain a link that points here, and then let's expand on that. Okay, so we're gonna have home, drop-down menu. Drop-down menu will actually have a nested list inside the main list item, but we'll get to that in day 2, in day 3, I'm sorry, when we're going to be styling the drop-down menu. Okay, so the next one, gallery page. Full width and contact. Okay, and let's give this first link an ID of active menu item, because it's different from the others. Okay, that's done with our nav. Let's end this. So end top header. like this. Okay, let's call this logo and menu, just so we know what's going on here. Next is our slider. So we're going to have a div with an ID of slider section. Oops. And that's going to have, well, that's going to be blank for now, because the slider will be dealing with it in day 5. So just say insert slider code here. Okay. And let's clean up our code here. Okay, like this. Next, let's see what we have. Category bar plus breadcrumbs. Right, so category bar, div with an ID of categories section. So like that, and we're gonna have a list which will contain, I don't know, 3 list items, let's say, for starters. So it's gonna contain a list item times 5, and each list item will contain a link, like this. And let's input some values: design and print work and freebies. Something like this. Okay, last bit, we're gonna have this expand and collapse button, and initially the slider will be shown in the home page, so we're gonna need href img, oops, so img source is going to be img slash collapse button png. Alt is going to be collapse the slider. There we go, and that's our categories section. And let's end it like this. Cool. Now we're gonna have the breadcrumbs. So div id breadcrumbs section, and that's going to have 2 elements. One big paragraph here to hold the text, you are here, home, current page, and stuff like that. And the second one would be the search form. So let's say paragraph. It's gonna say you are here, and then you're going to have an anchor tag, and it says home, and then you're going to have some spaces, a small arrow, and space again, and then a span that's going to say current page. Okay, good. Next, let's see, we have a form. So form with an ID of search form, and the search form will contain a field set which will contain an input. Type is going to be text, and let's expand that. So form action We're gonna give it a an action here of index.html because HTML5 actually requires the action value of a form to be to have something in it. You can't input a null value. So ID search form field set. Okay, input type text ID is going to be search input, for instance. Name is going to be search input. And that's good enough for now. Okay, and breadcrumbs section. Right. Next. Next is going to be the main content. Now the main content will be divided in two. We'll have the main area, as you can see here. So the main area and then the sidebar. Okay, so div ID main section, it's going to have two additional sections. So div with the, let's give it an ID of main content area, or actually let's give it a more suggestive name like article. uh, Actually, this is quite interesting because if I name this article container, for instance, or article section to reflect the fact that we're going to have blog posts, it's not going to make any sense in the secondary pages where we're not going to have posts and we're going to have just basic information like in the contact page. We don't have articles there, so I'm just going to stick with a more general name and I'll call it main content section, like this. And then we're going to add a div with an ID of sidebar. So expand on those two. Oh, and main section, like this. Okay, main content section. Let's take care of this. It's going to be main stuff. Okay, so main content section. What do we have? We have a block here on the left side with the meta information, a heading, an image, and a paragraph. So actually these are repeating, so we can use a list. So UL with a class, actually UL class, yeah, we can give the UL an ID of articles, for instance, and that's going to have one list item for now, and that list item will have a paragraph with the class of article meta, which will be this, and then we're also going to have, let's put these three elements inside a div. It's going to make things much easier for us when styling it. So div with a class of article body. Okay, and let's go ahead and expand on that. Okay, article meta. what do we have here? So we have posted by a link that goes nowhere, admin. So posted by admin on a date. So another link. Oops, December 12th. In another link. Design. And the last one will be a link. Leave a comment. Now we can actually set the href value here as blog single.html hash comments. And when we're going to be writing the markup for the single page, we'll add this kind of anchor tag at the beginning of the comment area. So when we're in the first page and we're clicking leave a comment, it will open up the home page and will automatically scroll down to the comments section. Okay, so let's see what else we have here. So we have the article meta and the article body. Now, article body, let's close this real quick. Okay, so article body is going to have an h2 that will say blog post title. Now I'm not using h1 for these because I used h1, or we are going to be using h1 in the slider on the top. Okay, so h2 blog post title, and we need some images. So let's wrap these in an anchor tag. So ahref img source is going to be none for now, alt is going to be none for now, and that is because we'll be using some placeholder images. But for that, let's go back to Photoshop and check out our image size right here. So we're gonna have 515 by 110. Now I already know that I'm going to add some margins and paddings to the image, and also some CSS3 borders. So to compensate for that, I'll just grab an image that's 510. That's 510 pixel wide instead of 515. So let's open up Chrome, go to Lorem Pixum 510 by 110, and let's just, I don't know, generate some abstract pictures, something like this. And actually, I don't need to copy them from here. I can just go like this. So img source is going to be http lorempixum.com. You can lose the www. So lorempixum.com / 510 for width, 110 for height, and the category is going to be abstract. Let's give it an alt of abstract. Okay, looking very good. And last thing, we need a paragraph. So we need a very short paragraph. So I'm thinking medium ipsum, something like this. And this time text expander does work, unlike yesterday. So let's just clean this up real quick. Okay, looking good. And that is one article. Now to create more, simply copy and paste the list items. So go down here, paste, paste, paste again. And let's create some variety here. So posted by admin, blog post title, let's call this web design tuss plus rocks. Lorem Pixum, same stuff. Another title here, Envato, and then let's create a short lorem ipsum this time. And the last one, let's add a very long title. And the stuff I put in here was, well, actually we didn't insert new titles, but let me just do that right now. Something like this. Okay, and that is our article list. Now, before we end with our main content section, we still need a div for the pagination control. So let's say pagination div with a class with an ID, I'm sorry, of pagination, and that's going to have a list. Actually, we don't need a div. We can just use a list here. So UL with an ID of pagination, it's going to have 3 list items, and each list item will have a link. 1, 2, and 3. It's going to go nowhere, nowhere, and this one is going to be, we'll have an ID actually of active page or current page. Okay, good. Let's take a look at the PSD. Let's see, we're done here. Let's move on to the sidebar. Now the sidebar can actually be a list, an ordered list. I think that's the way WordPress generates it as well. I know it generates it as a list. I'm just not sure if it's OL or UL. But anyway, that can be changed if needed. So OL with an ID of sidebar, and each list item that we're going to put is going to be a widget like this. So let's take a look at this structure. We have an H4 here. It's going to be an H4 and another list inside that one. So let's grab H4 and call it archives. And I'm not using H3s because I wanted to leave H3s just in case we need them for, you know, a subheading in a blog post. So I just skipped directly to H4. So archives and then UL, and this UL is going to have a class of 2-column list. So UL 2-column list, and that's going to have list item times 4, and those are going to have a link. Okay, and the link is going to say January. Just fill it in with some text here. Okay. Next, copy the list item, categories, same thing, 2-column list, and let's say print design something like this. Okay, next one is recent comments. So recent comments, and this time the list is just going to be a normal list. So let's just strip the class from that one, and we're just going to have two elements. First one, uh, no list item, I mean no anchor tag, excuse me. So Roger said span. Let's put this into a paragraph. So we have the P. Span is going to say great article. Something like this. Close the span. Oops. And this is going to say on article post title. There we go. And let's create a new list item here. Something like this. Okay. And last one, tweet list. So grab this once again, paste it, and let's call it latest tweets. So latest tweets will be about something like this. And it's going to say 3 minutes ago via something, TweetDeck or Twitter for iPhone. Okay. Okay, let's clean this up just a bit. Okay. And also here. Actually, I say clean up, but I don't actually clean it up. So something like this, just to have a clear structure. Okay, good. Let's see what else. We are done with the sidebar, and we already have our page controls and our article list. So now it's time to move on to the footer, and more precisely to the footer menu. So let's call this footer menu. Div with an ID of footer section. Okay, and the footer section is going to be as I was saying, the footer section is going to be divided into a couple of columns here. And if we take a look, we can easily divide this in half, right? So something like this is going to be the half of the footer menu, and we can have two columns here that have a class of 1/4, for instance, and the other half will have a class of 1/2, right? So um, let's grab some divs. Class of 1/4, and then actually I'm thinking if it would be better to just use list items with these classes, and I think I'm gonna try that. So let's actually use it like this. So ul list item with a class of 1/4, and that list item will have um, will actually have another list item inside it, another list inside it, I'm sorry. Now I'll just stick with divs. I'll just stick with divs because we might get into trouble later on while trying to style those lists, because we're going to be dealing with some inherited properties from the parent list and so on. So let's just use div with a class of 1/4. Okay, and that's going to have a list item with a list with 4 list items, something like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy the list items since they're basically the same. Okay, next, copy and paste this. And grab the categories. I think that's the way we have. No, we have the archives, recent comments, and then categories and tweets. No problem though. We forgot about the h4. So h4 archives, and then we have the list item like this. Okay, and copy and paste. So 1/4 and 1/4. We're gonna have categories. Okay, and this one will have some recent comments. Also, let's add an h4, of course. So recent comments, and ul with the comments like this. Okay, and the last one is going to be latest tweets. And let's just go down here and paste it in. Okay, something like this. Good, good, good. Let's see what else. Now we have the second half, which is about the author and subscribe. So going back to Coda, we have 1/4, 1/4 here, and now we can put div with a class of 1/2. So expand on that. Okay, and 1/2 is going to have an h4. That's going to say about the author. It's going to have a small paragraph, a small descriptive paragraph. So let's call it a small ipsum. And let's see what else. We're going to have this section right here with some links, and then with a list and then a contact us link. So this one actually needs to be put inside a special tag. So let's call it div with an ID of contact info, for instance, contact info section, let's call it. And it's going to have a list. So UL, and the UL will have 4 list items, list item times 4, and each list item will have a link, and inside each link is going to be an image that's coming from IMG Social, something like this. Okay, so Alt I'll show you why I did that in a bit. So social, let's call this Twitter.png, Twitter, Facebook.png, and then RSS. .png, and it's going to be sorry, RSS.png, and then RSS here. Okay, then I got them mixed up. So this first one is going to be paragraph follow us, and I've made it a list item because it's easier to just center it like this. Okay, and next one is going to be a simple link that's going actually to contact HTML, for instance. It's going to say contact us via our contact form. Okay, and we're done with this part. Next one is the subscribe section. So go ahead and copy some stuff, and let's tag this with contact info, just so we know what we're doing here, and then say subscribe. That is good enough. So replace the H4, subscribe, and let's add some text like enter your email address below to subscribe to our monthly newsletter. And then we're going to have a form. So form with an ID of subscribe form. We'll have a field set, and that field set is going to have an input type text and an input type submit. There we go. Oh, and I forgot, method is going to be post or get, doesn't matter. And let's also add the method to our search form. Okay, good. So subscribe form, field set. Let's clean this up. So input type text ID is going to be, uh, let's see how we named our search input here. Oh, we named it search input. Let's give it a more, uh, let's give it a better name, like search value. Oops. Okay. So ID is going to be subscribe email. Okay. And let's see what else. Input type submit value is going to be subscribe. Okay. And that's our form. Let's see what else. Okay. Last thing is this copyright info part right here. So we're gonna have copyright info div with an ID of copyright section, and that div is going to have an img. That's going to be basics logo small.png, and also a paragraph of text. Okay, alt basics a magazine and blog theme. Let's see if let's actually copy word for word. So img basics logo small.png. Alright, that's good. And the paragraph will say copyright 2011 basics WordPress theme, and another paragraph will say powered by WordPress. Okay, and that should be it. One last thing, and copyright section like this. Okay, and that is our markup for the home page. Let's take a look, see how it looks like. So we have the logo, we have our menu here, we have our category bar, breadcrumbs, search bar, and then we have the blog post titles, and then the pagination, the footer menu here, and then about the author, subscribe form, and then the footer. Cool. Okay, well, let's go ahead and check our code real quick in the validator, just to make sure we didn't make any mistakes. Okay, looking good. And um, the next step that we're gonna do is open up blog single, and we're gonna write the markup for this as well, so that tomorrow in day 3 we can take the markup that we've written today and apply some styling to it. Okay, so Let's look around. Go back to Coda, duplicate our index HTML, and call it blog single HTML. Now let's go back to our index real quick, just to set some links here. So href is going to be, actually the blog title is going to be a link. I just realized that. Okay, href on this one is going to be blog single HTML. Good. And same goes for these. Web design test plus rocks, like this, and then get this as well. And finally, our very long title. Okay, so now we have links on both the heading and the image. Cool. Okay, so we can go ahead and close this, and blog single HTML. Let's see, slider. The slider is going to be hidden, but we'll deal with that in day 5. Category bar will stay in, breadcrumbs will stay. Now, main content section. Now, we're not going to have a list here since we're only having one article. So let's call this div with an ID of article. So we can get rid of some of these additional list items. Okay, UL, and that UL is going to be turned into a div. So div and article, like this. Okay, now article body will have a blog post title. The image no longer needed to be an anchor tag, and we're gonna have lots of text, something like this. And let's see what else we're gonna have. So we have tagged here, so let's put that as paragraph with an ID of tagged. Let's close the paragraph, and it's going to say tagged, and just a bunch of links afterwards. So href, SEO, and some other links. Okay, good. Now the next step is to add this kind of author section. So let's see, ID article. Inside of the article, we're going to have div with an ID of author bio, and that's going to have two parts. It's going to have this this sharing part right here, and it's going to have the main author bio. So actually, let's not call this author bio, but article extra. Okay, and article extra is going to have a div with an ID of share post plus a div with an ID of author bio. So something like that. Good. Okay, share post. This will just have an img and a link. So ahref, let's say img source equals img slash share icon, I think I called it. Alt is going to be share this post, and also we're going to have some actual text. Share this post. Now, this is not necessarily the final markup. Uh, we might need to change this when we style the elements. So, share post. Now for the author bio, very simple image. So img source, img, and it's inside placeholder, and it's called author avatar.jpg. Okay, and we have an H4, I think. Yes, H4 that says written by author name. Close the H4, so it's going to be, in my case, Adi Purdila. Let's see what else. A paragraph with a description. So paragraph, grab this from here, paste it in, and there we go. That's our author bio. Okay, now let's write some markup for this comment section right here. So div, this is the end of article extra. Okay, and also we don't need pagination here, and let's replace this with comments. Okay, and we're going to have an H4. It's going to say 3 comments for blog post title. Close the H4. And then UL with an ID of comment list or article comment list. And it's going to have a list item, and the list item will have kind of a similar structure to our post here. So we're going to have a comment meta on the left and the comment body on the right. So list item div ID comment meta plus div ID div class comment body, since we'll be using this in more than one place. So comment meta and comment body. Let's break these apart. Okay, comment meta is going to have small text and an image. So paragraph is going to say May 2nd, and the image, the source is going to be img user what was it, user avatar, I think. Default user icon.jpg. There we go. Default user icon.jpg. Okay, so that's the comment meta. Comment body will have the name of the person who's commenting. So in my case, it's an href. It says admin, or it can say Joe. It doesn't matter. A paragraph. Let's do a medium one. Clean it up a bit. And lastly, a link that says reply. Very cool. And that's our comment. And you can just go ahead and copy this. But before that, comment meta and comment body. Okay, so as I was saying, grab the list item and copy it a couple of times to get your comments. Okay, last thing, we have the comment form, and we'll do that after the list, and we'll say h4 again. Oops. It's going to say leave a comment for blog post title, like this, and then form with an ID of article comment form. We have a field set, and we have a couple of items. So we're going to have label plus input type text. So action is going to be index HTML, methods going to be post, okay, so label for comment name, for instance, and the ID is going to be comment name. Okay, grab these two, and actually let's put a value for the label. That's going to say your name, and also a span that's going to say required. Okay, something like this. So grab it, paste it 2 times, and it's going to say your email address, comment email, paste it, and the last one, we don't need the label for it, and it's just going to be a text area. Name is going to be comment message, ID same one, calls, rows, stuff like this. Okay, and last, we're going to have an input, type submit, value is going to be comment or submit comment. Okay, and that's it. We're done with the blog single markup. Let's have a look. So the same structure is kept on the top. We have the blog here, the blog post title. with the blog content, tags, share this post, and then the author section. And we can see we have just a couple of characters here that aren't recognized. So let's go back to the author and the problems. The problem is with the quotes. So I'm currently working. Okay, there we go. 3 comments, and that's the comment list, and that's the submit comment form, and the rest is like the home page. So one last step for today: grab this, copy it, and throw it in the validator just to check out if everything is in place. So check it, seems to work just fine. And that's it, guys, for day 2. So we sliced the PSD, even though we didn't have that many images, but we did that, and we also wrote a pretty cool markup for the home page and the blog single page. Now tomorrow in day 3, as I said, we'll be covering the CSS styling for the theme. So I'll see you guys back then. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.